What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. This is
What
another
it
episode.
do, baby?
How you been, man?
Actually, should we tell them what's going on with my arm?
We can.
That's like the most up-to-date how it's been
Pretty much.
so far. Basically, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if it's like a cut or I got bit. But basically, I woke up like at 4 a.m. the other day.
And his arm wouldn't move.
It wouldn't move. It was, the elbow area was so swollen, I couldn't like bend it. Like when I bent it, it was so swollen, it got stuck, and it was like red, and like it almost looked like eczema. I guess it is kind of.
Yeah,
eczema,
pretty much.
right?
Did you think you were gonna die?
I thought I was gonna die right there. I was like, what is gonna happen to my arm? Like, is it like rotting? Like, that's what happens when you get infected. Like back in the day, the arm would rot, and the soldiers would just cut it off. Like that's what it reminded me of. Like, God, no, man. And I'm the type of guy that always thinks negative. I'm just like, shit.
Did you go on like WebMD and search it up?
Yeah, I was like cancer.
Cancer. That's what it always go down to, though, right?
No, but straight up, dude. It's still so inflamed. I can't, like, I have to keep it elevated. Taking antibiotics now, man, and
You'll be alright. Don't worry, man. You going back? Do you Vic?
yeah,
Soon?
going back.
How's the life in UVic as an engineer?
Good shit, man. I'm about to finish up, but that's what we're gonna be talking about, eh?
Yeah, I did jump right into it, right?
It's the Tim Duncan of all things you can go in career wise. It is, seriously.
Pretty much.
It's so like nobody talks about it. It's so low key, but it's so like it's awesome. It's like super effective.
And, like for me, like obviously I'm not doing engineering. All I hear it's like you don't sleep. It's a straight hard grind. That's a stereotypical thing that I hear from every engineer. You take 8 classes, you're just.
I always see those memes, right? Like, an engineer brags about taking 7 classes.
Yeah, exactly. So to tell people what it's all about, like first of all, let's start from the start, right? Like how'd you get in? Like what's the kind of steps from
how
high
I get
school?
it? I think you apply the I don't know. I think the percentages to get to like UBC or UVic or even like BCIT, it's like an 85 plus.
Okay.
And maybe like 90 is, maybe UBC is like a 90 plus, and like if you want to go U of T or Queens or MIT if you're a genius, right, then you need the crazy marks. But how engineering works is it's not like any other program. You get in a program and you start doing engineering.
Yeah.
It's the first year is totally general, and then you compete to get into whatever you want to get into. So obviously there's so many types of engineering.
First of all, is it just straight engineering? Do you know how like business has like solder, all that crazy shit? Like is it just engineering? Isn't it like there's
a faculty of engineering, and then like I was saying, you compete the first year, and then
then you branch out.
Okay. There's so many types of engineering. Like when people say I'm an engineer, that makes absolutely no sense to me because there's mechanical engineering and electrical engineering and computer software and human factors and civil, and then there's civil engineering. So for like obviously I know the most about civil. Civil breaks down to 1,000 things like geotechnical, structural, hydraulics.
So what is all in, like I'm dumb at this shit. Like I don't know what you're talking about. Like, obviously, like what does that all mean?
It's just the different types of engineering, like, and it's a huge branch.
Yeah.
That's what that means right there, man. There's endless possibilities what you can do in engineering. And the big kind of thing that people kind of ask me is, like, how do I know if engineering is right for me? That's, like, the big thing. Yeah. And if you go online, you're going to hear all these crazy answers. Like, you got to be able to think critically and analytically and break this down and stuff. But I don't know, that shit usually never ever made sense to me, right? So, and you know what? And a big other misconception is, I gotta be good at math in high school.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
I gotta take the physics, and I'm gonna do good. Yes, math and physics.
Yeah.
You should be good at those, but it's not like just because you do bad in math and physics, you can't be an engineer, right?
Yeah.
I would say to be an engineer,
like what prereqs do you need like to get in? Is it just a typical thing like anything else?
Yeah, it's just a typical thing.
Yeah.
But I would say in high school, if you want to be a good engineer, you have to be. The best way I would put it is you have to be a really good problem solver. Okay. So one thing we used to do is kind of get popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
Just with popsicle sticks and no glue or anything.
Yeah.
Try making cool stuff with them.
Okay.
Like, if you could kind of do stuff like that.
Like get A to B with what you got pretty much and trying to try to figure stuff out.
Try to solve problems with like a limited amount of tools. Like that's the type of thinking kind of you start off you need to be like an engineer.
Yeah.
But like some misconceptions, like he was saying, it's super hard.
Yeah.
It is. The first year is super hard.
Yeah, okay.
You have to take like 7-8 classes.
Yeah.
You have to build like a robot, take 3 math courses,
Yeah.
2 physics, 1 chemistry.
Yeah, let's break that down. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, first of all, like, I never knew there's 3 math courses. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah,
Like,
Calc 1, Calc 2, linear algebra.
you can do that?
Yeah.
Obviously, I did dentistry, so I don't know all this shit, right? I took chemistry and biology, so I don't know what the fuck
You
you're
need
talking
Calc
about
1,
right
Calc 2, Calc 3, Calc 4. You need solving differential equations. You need linear algebra.
Yeah.
You need a MATLAB course. You need a comp sci course which teaches you like algorithms, like how computers kind of work.
Yeah.
You need to take all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you need to take a so this is like first year. It's all general classes.
Yeah, okay.
You take a computer programming course. You take a solids and mechanics course. And what they do first year is basically run you the hell down.
Yeah.
Every first year class starts out with 500 kids.
Yeah. It's probably the same with anything. Like
By the end of it,
yeah.
there's like 250
It just channels
kids.
through
50% is
anyone.
just
Yeah.
gone. What they want to do is first year they want to see how hard you could work.
Yeah.
It's like they'll give you very little information. They'll give you one like computer coding class,
Yeah.
and the second semester you have to make a robot.
Yeah.
I had to make a robot that autonomously, independently, by itself, without a robot,
Yeah.
without a remote, goes, grabs a wire,
Yeah.
gets that wire and puts it on a beacon.
How the fuck do you do that?
Like that's the thing right there. We had a little kit, so we made the robots, put wheels, put a little motor,
Yeah.
put a little computer thing on it. We programmed the computer.
But like, how do you get there? Like, just do the classes you take, like software, coding, or
Yeah.
whatever you do,
Yeah.
right? All that shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Is that part of the class? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously you learn all this shit, like all these courses, but then is it like, oh, at the end of the semester this robot has to be made, and you have to show how it works.
Yeah.
So you just learn on the go, and you make it. Do you make it with
Yeah.
like a group or something? How does that
Yeah,
work?
you're in a group and you learn on the go and you figure stuff out. You watch YouTube videos and tutorials because that's what real engineering is.
Yeah.
You never a real engineering job is you're not doing something that's already been done and you know how to do because then like there's no point. Like,
Exactly.
It's already been
Fair
done,
enough.
right?
Yeah.
You're doing stuff like that's never been done and you're trying to design cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's literally what engineering is.
Okay.
Right? But again, back to the whole math and physics thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel as if a lot of the reason people say engineering is so hard. Well, number one, it's a lot of classes, and I admit, first year of fine is kind of hell.
How many classes is it? 7?
It's like 6 and 7.
Yo, people take like 4 or 5.
I know.
And you take 6, 7.
But, like, even the math and physics, like, I understand how people can say the math and physics is hard, but
Yeah.
it's the foundation you need to do everything else.
Exactly. That makes sense,
It really is everything. Like, once you get that down, it's not hard. It's like anything else. I think it's hard. It's just as hard as anything else.
First, everything's hard.
Everything's
You
hard.
gotta find your niche, right?
Exactly. But engineering, it's a super, super important field.
Yeah.
Engineering shapes the world around us, literally. From what the microphones we're on right now, to the building I'm in right now, to the roads outside, to the physical environment around us, everything is involved around engineering. And it's so important, especially in a changing world today, that we have engineers coming in. And bringing cool new ideas and frigging new shit out and new solutions. I mean, fucking climate change, yo.
Yeah.
Right? Like, now's the time. We need engineers more than ever right now.
So, like, obviously you said there's different type of engineering, right? So, like, what are the common types? Like, you said you do civil engineering. I know, like, you break it down to, like, 300 different things.
Okay,
so,
okay.
What's, like, what does civil engineer do? Like,
I'll break down some of the, I'll break down
yeah.
some of the engineers. So there's, like, a computer side you can kind of go to.
And what's that? Like, simplify as much as you can.
So, again, I'm not a computer engineer, so I'll do my best to kind of explain this. I have some experience, but computer programming, basically.
Okay.
And most people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And most people are afraid of the computery stuff.
Yeah.
But trust me, like, take the first year course. It's awesome. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
It's not as intimidating as it seems.
So
it's
is that
doable.
Like, is that like electronics stuff, making computers?
That's like programming hardware.
Okay.
And then there's another section that makes the hardware.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But like, just generally, like, that's what it is.
Generally, you computer. For example, so my first ever like programming, like project / assignment. It was I had to make a program that calculates income tax. So it was really easy. So like put in your income. If it's 40,000, you tax this much. If it's above 50,000, like there you go. It's a simple example of how to make a program. You learn how to think like a computer. You learn how to make algorithms.
All right.
And that stuff gets you in the tech field. Tech field's the biggest thing right now, right?
Yeah.
That techie stuff.
21st century, man.
Dude, BC government just like invested 150 million into techie shit. Amazon's building a new headquarters in BC. Like, dude,
it's crazy,
tech shit is like it's in like if you want to make a difference in the world, like tech is
Yeah,
where to go.
100%. No, I agree. Yeah, but like, what's that? Like, what you said? I think mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering. It's anything. So the difference between a kind of basic, high level difference between civil and mechanical. Civil is anything that like doesn't move. Anything physical that doesn't move, like a building or a bridge.
Yeah, okay.
But mechanical is stuff that does move, like a motor.
Yeah.
Like so, they focus on stuff like that, and like the little parts, like pumps and motors.
Yeah,
and, HVAC systems
Yeah.
for big buildings, and then there's civil. Civil is probably the biggest engineering thing you can go to.
Yeah, okay.
Civil breaks down to like, for example, structural, what I'm in, designing buildings, and there's such a huge scope for that. Like, again, with this whole sustainability wave kind of coming in, finding new materials to build stuff with, creating buildings that are net zero.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff like that.
So just finding the most, like, any kind of engineering you're saying is like finding the most efficient and
that's what it
less
is.
carbon foot way of making kind of buildings, of just ripping down trees. Like, there's probably another way of kind of building this stuff, right?
For sure. And again, you can do like hydraulics. Like, I don't know if any of you guys know like where all the rainwater goes, or like
fucking
how
idea.
you plan that.
Yeah.
You just see a random hole in the ground and you're like, all right, the rain's gone in there.
That's it,
So that takes a lot of engineering, a lot of city planning, a lot of design. I'm taking a super interesting course, is traffic engineering. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm super interested in it.
Yeah, that's good,
like
man.
how to design roads so less people die. You know what's weird? Like I always Neil deGrasse Tyson said that like humans react to spectacle more than real data. So for example, when there's a mass shooting, obviously mass shootings are bad, right?
Yeah.
But how many people die in mass shootings here? Let's just like, I think the number was like 1,400 or something.
Yeah, okay.
So we go crazy, ban guns, do this.
Yeah.
Super wide. Media
One
attention,
thing happens,
right? You know how many people die from car accidents every year?
Like probably
1.5 million.
Yeah, like way more. Yeah.
You know what we're doing about it?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Like, you know what's
People
crazy?
focus on those big things that are just so
Big things
like
like half the number of people that die from car accidents die from malaria.
Yeah.
Yet Canada and America put $100 million to fight malaria.
Yeah.
You know, and if you go into traffic engineering, you'll learn about super simple ways that you could prevent traffic by using you can prevent accidents by using traffic engineering.
Yeah, I never knew that. That's crazy,
Like, dude,
man.
in airports, the air traffic controllers,
Yeah.
those guys make per year tens of thousands of mistakes.
Yeah.
Yet they have a system in place
Yeah.
that doesn't allow planes to crash into each other.
it, yeah.
So how come like people have to die? Like, why is driving around dependent on human behaviors and not dependent on the systems?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
that's a
Like,
good point,
dude,
man.
like engineering has the power to change the world. Like, it's literally designing the world around you.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Other
I never thought of it that way.
Other
man.
types of civil, like geotech,
Yeah.
investigating soil conditions. Like, can I build a building here?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Richmond.
Yeah.
Richmond's all underwater, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's when you need big geotech stuff.
Yeah.
Environmental is huge.
Yeah.
It is huge. It is like, if you don't know what you're doing, again, like I said, go into tech. Also, you can go into environmental. Like, any of that stuff. Such a big field. Figuring out the most efficient and sustainable ways of doing this. Resource management is going to be huge for our generation.
Yeah.
And like, this climate change thing is so fucked up right now. Like, we might be fine, but our kids won't.
Yeah.
Our kids won't. If we stay as business as usual.
As the education and technology you learned throughout the decade, you learn like what we did in the past was not as beneficial to us like in the present now, because we see the effects of what's happening, right?
For sure.
And you want to make that so that your generation, your kids, have a better future ahead of us, right? So that's crazy. I never thought engineering that way. Like,
Engineering, it's super important, man. Engineering made the world around us. Like, we're here because of engineering.
That's crazy.
The technology, the buildings, the roads, the cars, everything is here because of engineering. And
it's funny how you say that though. Like, it kind of relates to like what's going on now as well with the election and stuff. Like, thinking about like how some people are like, hey, I should vote for this person, I should vote for that person. Like, I'm not telling you like who you should vote for, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like how much like of an effect can an engineer have like in the future? Like, I know you said it's a big thing. Like just give us like just a quick summary. Like, an engineer can change this, and this maybe to like you said, traffic control, like all that stuff. Like, what are the simple things that can be done?
You know what you kind of said kind of reminds me of?
What?
Like, I know this is a really unpopular thing to say, but how fucked up democracy is.
What do you mean?
Okay, don't get me wrong.
No.
So you guys,
I don't know much about this
okay,
stuff.
no. Okay,
Yeah.
so democracy. So, for example, I'm a structural engineer. I have a building code, and I have to follow the building code every time I design buildings, right?
Yeah.
Now, every year there's like changes made to the building codes. They'll change one coefficient or something, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I were to get a group of engineers to vote for that coefficient, that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
If I were to get you and all your friends to vote for that coefficient, would that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's wrong with democracy, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're getting people that don't know. And that's why, like, it's so emphasized, even in first year, that, like, obviously, I don't know, like, this is an engineer speaking to a class of engineers. Like, engineers make the best politicians.
Yeah.
Because we have the best understanding of the world, of how it's, like, done.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense.
That's what they tell us, right?
Good,
it's cool,
man.
right?
Yeah.
But definitely, like, if you're the type of person that wants to make a difference in the world, right?
Yeah.
Engineering would be a great start.
That's good, man. It's so weird because, like, we're always taught different things. Like, you know, brown parents, like, just become an engineer. And, like, the first thing I think of, I don't know shit all about engineering. It's, like, wiring, things like that.
Yeah.
But, like, that's nothing to do, like, it has something to do with it, but that's, like, the smaller picture of a bigger thing that's going on as well, right? So.
And you know what? Again, like I said, you have to be super, super creative and super, super fun. Like, I work for a company, and they always said, like, you know, if I have a client and they say, I want my house's foundation to be made out of peanut butter, we'll never say no.
Yeah.
Like, we'll never say no, right? Yeah. So if you get satisfaction from solving problems and trying new things and designing new things, like, definitely go into it, right? And
it's not like a job you just sit on the desk and do nothing. You got to make sure you're innovative. You're going around. Be super
innovative. And you know what? I know a lot of people out there that probably want to get into construction. Yeah. Dude, getting into engineering is great. And you know what? It just doesn't have to be structural. Yeah. Like, if you do electrical or like mechanical, there's huge mechanical, electrical components in buildings. Yeah. Like, huge, like, big transformers and stuff that need to be designed by electrical engineers. Yeah. Right? So that's
crazy. It's just so fun being on the other side. It's like, no one's really told me what an engineer does, and it's crazy to hear, like, yo, they pretty much can change the world. It's nuts, man.
Engineers are going to shape the next 50 years of our life, man. And also in Canada, I don't know if this is true, but, like, most schools have, like, a mandatory co-op. Yeah. So, like, I tell people to work in university and do co-ops despite their degree, because you don't know shit, in my opinion, about the workforce.
No,
if you don't go out of imagine if you became a dentist and you didn't actually, like, do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you would just know a bunch of theory, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, like, how we were talking, like, how does that play into your degree? Like, you said first year you do this, this, and this. Like, when does co-op start? Can it start first year, or, like...
Co-op starts when you start specializing.
Okay,
so when, like, you get into civil.
So when does that happen? Like, usually around second year?
First year is the competitive year. Yeah. Civil and mechanical are usually the hardest ones to get into. Yeah. And then the lower grade people get into, like, electrical and software and stuff. Yeah. But I've heard that, like, civil and mechanical are actually easier than electrical and stuff. Yeah. So that's why they enroll a lot of people in electrical to fail them.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's pretty savage, but it's true.
That's crazy.
But, yeah. What were we talking about?
I was talking about, like, where does the kind of co-op start? You said second year.
Yeah, co-op,
like,
second year.
Like, how does it work?
How does it work? Depending on the school, you'll have academic semesters and work semesters, and you basically apply to a lot of jobs. The university will give you a bunch of listings. Yeah. You apply, and you're an adult. I mean, at that point, you find your own job, right? You gotta get, like, I'm going to Prince George in January. Yeah.
So, like, you obviously made the decision yourself. Like, how does that work? I know you said, like, they gave you a couple lists and stuff. Like, do they just, there's, like, a list of, like, 100 companies or something, and you just, like...
Well, companies post on that board.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then we apply.
And then whatever interviews, things like that, go from there.
And from that point on, you're an engineer. Like, you're expected to, you know, conduct yourself as a professional. And
so do you change that co-op throughout the years, or, like, if you're...
you can do different co-ops. If the company wants you back, you can go back. I haven't gone back to any company yet. Not that, like, they don't want me back.
It's always good to, like, open up a little bit, right?
Open up, yeah, co-op's awesome. You actually feel like you really accomplished something. You're learning something.
And you're always sitting in obviously a lecture hall or whatever.
And every time you go back to school, you're always like, you know what, I'm a different person. You know, I actually know what I'm doing, and I could talk about, I know stuff that other people don't.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Even like I told you before, I was like, when I got into clinic the first day, like, I shot myself. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Yeah. And then going through that whole experience, you're like, hey, I want to learn. I want to get better. And that's pretty much like anything, right?
The first day you go to a co-op and there's like a 8-story mid-rise concrete building, and your boss gives you a piece of paper and tells you to design a beam, you will shit it. Yeah. It's no big deal. Like, you know, everyone's nice and stuff, but that's the awesome part about engineering. It's real, man. And I think one big purpose of, again, why we wanted to do this podcast is kind of address why more people don't go into it. Yeah. So you're a person who's not an engineer. You tell me, why aren't people going into engineering? Why are people, like, deciding to, like, do sciences instead?
I think it's a couple things. Like the first thing is, like I said, the first thing when someone mentions being an engineer, it's like, dude, these people don't sleep, they don't do anything. All they do is go to class, come home, eat, and and then like sometimes they don't even go to sleep, right?
Or should let's address one
Okay,
concern
fine.
at a time.
That's like the first thing, like 6 to 8 classes.
Overload of work.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so like I said, first year it's gonna be a little crazy.
Okay.
But it's not like every single day you're getting sued. Like if you stay on top of your shit in first year,
Yeah.
which is really hard to do, and I know 99% of people aren't
Yeah.
going to do that. It'll be bad, but it won't be
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah, I think the misconception that comes down to is like everything is going to be really hard to do. I think it's just the added pressure, like saying like, for example, mostly everything, any kind of degree you do, you take like 5 classes.
Yeah.
Right, 4 to 5 classes. Some people take 3, whatever it is. And then you always hear like an engineer be like, "Hey, if they take fucking 7 classes straight out of high school, like how am I gonna do this?" I think it's just people can't prioritize exactly how to do their shit coming out, and they just trip out. So I think that's maybe. Like you said, it just comes down to kind of breaking shit down, time management, stuff like that.
You definitely have to be straight up motivated right after high school
Yeah.
if you want to do engineering right after high school. But you know what? Like a lot of people like do the first year and then they kind of do bad and they do the first year again and then they
Yeah.
kind of get in the program.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
taking the extra year out.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes you fuck up.
I think also the second thing is like I think people just don't know what it is. Like I said,
they don't know what it is. That's a huge
I'm like,
thing.
bro, there's like different types of engineering. Like I knew there was like civil, mechanical. I'm like, I never knew there was more than that. Like
Yeah.
no one
Or,
tells
like,
you that.
Even when I tell you my next job, I'm going to be a structural design consultant. Do you even know what that means?
I don't know. Structural design means something about like making something. Or building
Yeah,
that's the only thing I know, right?
Like that's a big thing, and you know what? I don't know why that is. Like everyone knows what a dentist does, everyone knows what a lawyer does, everyone
Yeah.
knows what an electrician does, but
I don't know.
nobody knows what an engineer does.
It's-
Everyone's like, "Oh, great, you're an engineer. You're probably good at math."
Yeah, that's the stereotypical
That's
thing
the
that comes out of it,
stereotypical
right?
thing, right? But like I can dive deep in so many things. Like it'll be like a 3-hour podcast,
Yeah.
right? But again, like I said, the simplest way to break down an engineer is you could choose anything in the world you want, and you could try making it better. You could make it more innovative or cool, or if you see a problem in the world, you could become an engineer and try fixing it.
Yeah,
Right? Like climate change, for example,
Yeah.
right? Like it could be fixed with engineers. A big traffic problem,
yeah.
right? Why are 1.25 million people a year dying from
Yeah.
traffic accidents?
That's
Why
crazy.
is that happening?
Yeah,
Right? Or at UBC, they built the tallest wood building ever.
yeah.
Like that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It's 14 stories high, made out of wood.
That's nuts.
Right,
It's
so-
crazy, yeah.
If you think you're into stuff like that, definitely go into it. Another big misconception I think people have when they're going to computer stuff, they're like, they're kind of scared and intimidated by the coding. Like the word coding, it's so
that's
scary.
true, yeah, like you gotta
Like
make all these numbers, you gotta memorize
numbers
everything.
and-
Like,
yeah.
how do you do this shit? Like
Uh, Code-
pretty much like the computers we use, the iPhones, whatever, all that shit is
Like how
through
you-
like coding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they make a software, things like
Yeah.
that. That's crazy.
It's through coding. It's doable. It's not like only like the super geniuses know how to code. Like everyone knows how to code. You just have to like get into it.
Yeah.
Take one class and see how you like it.
Yeah,
I did it. I liked it. I mean, I
Yeah.
never went into it, but I definitely liked it.
yeah,
It was dope, man.
Yeah.
But definitely, that's a big thing, man. That's the take-home message I want to kind of give in this podcast. If you want to change the world, and you know what, and you want to make a difference, man, engineering is the way to go.
yeah.
That's kind of where I went.
That's
man.
crazy. Like I like even talking about it, you just see how speechless I am. Like, dude, I don't know what the fuck
Here,
engineering was.
I'll give you
Like,
another example. So we talk about GHG emissions and climate change, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what GHG emissions are, right?
Yeah,
Greenhouse gases.
yeah,
So there's a lot of emitters of GHG, like cars are a
Yeah,
big one,
yeah.
and then industry, and right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know what? A really big one, I think it's like the third biggest.
What?
Buildings.
yeah. Okay.
Now, what if I tell you there's a way to design a building where it has net zero emissions?
Yeah. So like the third largest.
Like
Gs.
what? Like it's so stupid how we build a house and we put a big ass heating system in it and we put a big ass cooling system. What if
Yeah.
I were to tell you we could build a house with with a really small mechanical component?
Yeah.
Such a small mechanical component that it takes the same amount of power as your hairdryer does.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be crazy if
And
it's
your
the
house-
largest like greenhouse gas cause.
And your house stays a perfect temperature.
Yeah.
And it stays super comfortable.
Yeah.
And you could cut a third of GHG emissions.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
Right?
Think about that in houses, buildings, like huge high rises,
Everything,
things like
dude.
that. That's a lot, man. If
That-
it's the third largest, man.
And that
Yeah.
gets you thinking about like the elections that are coming up,
Yeah.
man. You got the conservatives saying they're gonna cut the carbon tax.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of things going on. But if you think you want to go in engineering, like, you can always kind of give us a shout, DM us, email us, whatever you want, right? Appreciate you like talking about that. Like, not like I said, man. Like, not many people know what the fuck's going on with engineering. Like,
and again, it's such a big topic, and like I don't even know like where to dive into.
Yeah.
Right. So I can only really say like choose a problem in the world, and I guarantee you engineering will get you closer to fixing it.
Yeah, and leaping into that first year, like you said, it's going to be super hard, but you'll know exactly kind of where you want to go into. And if you have any other questions, man, give us a shout, like I said. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Or?
That's it, man. You also get a really cool iron ring when you grad. So.
Well, there you fucking go.
There you go. That's a good incentive.
All right, man. We the Underdogs.
Peace.
Get high, stay low. I'm shy, never told no lie to a soul. So I ride when I roll, smoke, red eyes in the skies, plain clothes, po, on patrol. Never know who told. Stay low, stay low. Stay low, stay low. Stay low, stay low.